Nehîyaw, Boyd Whiskeyjack, Amiskwaciwâskahikan Indigenous. My name is Boyd Whiskeyjack. I'm from Saddle Lake Cree Nation, currently living in Edmonton. My background is in youth work, and I volunteer a lot with the local Indigenous LGBT community. So the Edmonton Two-Spirit Society, which was incorporated in 2018. And my 4-year commitment's coming to a close now, so I'm really excited about that. And my side hustles include modeling and drag queen performance art. I would say the history of Cedar Tea goes all the way back to when I was a little kid. I would always dress up with my little nieces in their clothes, and I was basically born an uncle. So my nieces were older than me and we used to dress up and whatnot. But my history in drag started in Halloween. I would only dress up once a year without any judgment or fear of being condemned for dressing up as a woman. And then the past 2 years I realized that I had a knack for creating art.
Yeah, let's do
One year I went to this Fruit Loop event as an avatar, and my friend's dating one of the performers. We go into the back room and then someone asked, "When are you going on stage?" So that kind of planted a seed in my mind, okay, maybe I should start. Because the next year I went to their Halloween event. I dressed up as an X-Men Mystique, created my own outfit, won first place again, and that's when I decided, okay, I can create these looks, and I just decided why not start performing. And before I went on stage, I was like, I need a name, help me out. And my adopted family, Gabe Calderon, they asked me, what's your favorite medicine? And immediately I said cedar, just because it smells so good and the teachings behind, it brings positivity into your life. And that's how Cedar was born, flourishing at Two-Spirit gatherings and stepping down as International Two-Spirit Warrior. And I took on my drag mother's last name, Wildcat, for a year. And then I emerged onto the local scene here in February 2020, about a month before the pandemic hit. So I got 2 in-person gigs, and then everything else was online. Doing drag as an Indigenous person melds 2 different cultures together. Drag culture, they have slang like, what's the tea? And so when they're sitting there having a kiki or basically gossiping, to me that's what tea is. So my last name is Cedar Tea, was to kind of rewrite that narrative of laterally liberating others instead of being laterally violent. So in the mainstream LGBT community or the drag community here, I don't really associate myself too much with the other queens. I really focus gearing my audience towards the Indigenous community so I can raise awareness that way. Well, I know from personal experience coming to the city, trying to leave the res where I face a lot of homophobia, and then coming to the city in the gay community and facing racism. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, so to speak. When there's internal conflicts, we turn to culture for sharing circles so that we can hold that space for each other and support each other. Because, before we end up breaking up like a boy band or something, I think it's always important to look at the marginalized voices in the Pride movement.
Can you fix my hair?
One of the things that a lot of Two-Spirit people face is, suicidality or the ideation of wanting to take their lives. And I learned that if they have a spirit name, that'll really strengthen and armor them up to be able to navigate life, the hardships, and kind of just endeavor and never give up. So that teaching of Agamemuk, and you know, they can really step into their true authentic selves if they understand that part of their being. My background is in youth work, and I spent a lot of time doing volunteer work for the local Indigenous LGBT community, so the Edmonton Two-Spirit Society, which was incorporated in 2018. But right now, we're going through a transition phase where we want a lot of women to hold space as matriarchs to lead our local group, because historically they haven't really had that space. Like, we live in a patriarchal society, and so one of the things I wanted to do in my position of leadership is to hold that space and create it before I succeed out of that role, and mainly ensure it has sustainable structures so I can leave and it'll carry on.
Thank you guys for coming out. That's a wrap.